Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Signature Style Saturday, though it's actually Friday. And I just thought you guys might want to come along with me. I'm getting ready to go do the morning show on KWTV Channel 9, and we're going to talk about thunder-inspired container gardens in all shades of blue, orange, white. Show your spirit in your container plantings. We're going to be talking about some other things as well because, well, we haven't done a Signature Style Saturday in a while. So what do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, I am literally just pulling neighbors off of the street for today's Signature Style Saturday. I talk all the time about how much I love my neighborhood, and it is indeed a beautiful morning in the neighborhood, and I am here with one of my best neighbor friends. This is Bonnie Hicks. She lives right across the street. Bonnie, in this, with the most beautiful grassy lawn right now. I was telling your dad just how spectacular it is. He can barely keep up mowing it.
He's always out there mowing it.
Yeah, he's always up and mowing. Okay, but Bonnie, tell us a little bit, how old are you and how long have you lived across the street here?
I'm 14 and I've lived there for about, since Elsie was born, so like 12 years.
About 12 years?
Yeah.
And so I was talking to her dad. First of all, Bonnie is a great student, and what I love about Bonnie is always barefoot. I think that it just reminds me of being your age, because I think I was always barefoot at the same time walking through the neighborhood. And speaking of old houses and old neighborhoods, your dad told me that you recently did your end of year oral presentation, and it was about your affection for old houses or old neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so give me 3 reasons maybe that you can think of that you love these old houses and neighborhoods like ours.
Well, what I put in my speech was that every house is unique, and I just like the characteristics of them. They're always like different, and they just have more of like a homey vibe. That they're like comfortable, and I like the location because they're like walking distance from everything and close to my friends.
Yeah, we walk everywhere, don't we?
It's a cool neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's just so fun. And you've got lots of friends in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we talk about sometimes is how much we love that the stories these old houses tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like you say, it's just really homey. And I so appreciate that you as a young person appreciate what an old house and an old neighborhood can do about your outlook on life. So thank you for taking this moment with me. She and her sister Elsie are just, well, probably some of the first neighbors we met when we moved in, and they bring me chocolate chip cookies and sourdough bread.
Bread is what I remember.
Yeah, sourdough bread and all sorts of other goodies. But it is a joy to have you across the street. Let's take a few moments for ourselves to discuss skincare. I'm kind of obsessed with it. You guys are very kind in asking me about what I do to take care of my skin and prevent aging. Well, I have a really fun thing I want to tell you about today. When they asked me to collaborate with them on this Omnilux Contour Face device, I was thrilled because I was already familiar with it based on some reviews that some friends of mine and my sister gave me. And this is what it looks like. It's kind of different looking. So what it does is this emits this Omnilux Contour Face device. Notice how flexible it is. Okay, I can put it on. It's not like a rigid hard mask, but it emits red and near infrared light spectrum that is proven to age or to reduce the signs of aging, sunspots, minimize fine lines and wrinkles, reduce inflammation. And it's probably the fact that it can reduce inflammation that made me interested in it in the first place, because I think I have shared with you guys that I have rosacea. So I used to go and get light treatments, and this is an in-home device that you can use, that if you use it regularly, for the cost of those treatments that I used to get, this is just so much more economical. It is, and what I like about it is I mean, it's kind of relaxing. So if you use it, I use it every other day for about, you can use it for 10 to 20 minutes. I use it for about 10 minutes, and it's just kind of my meditation time. So I don't have any makeup on. My skin is completely clean and clear, and hopefully this is doing its work. I can't say enough about prioritizing our skincare at this age, because if my skin feels good and youthful, I feel good and youthful. And God knows, over the years, I have done enough damage to my skin from gardening, from laying out in the sun when I was a teenager, all of those terrible things that we used to do when we were young to help with our skin problems. I think it's just nice to be able to pull it out. Like I say, kind of take some me time. 10 minutes every other day is not a big deal. Plus, I'm sitting at my desk intentionally because there's things that I can do here. I can meditate. I can review one of my gardening books. I can just really indulge in the fact that I'm doing something good for myself, good for my skin, and I'm just making an investment in healthy aging. And by the way, there's a timer in this, so I don't have to pay attention to how long it's on. There's a timer in this, it automatically goes off. And then I put my skincare treatments on, and I feel like it really makes those soak in. So there you go. You see how it automatically turned off. It's easy to remove. I can travel with it if I need to. It comes with this handy little travel bag. There's a QR code on the screen. Make sure to use the code. I've been using it for about 2 months, and I can tell you I already see a difference in the laxity of my skin. So I highly recommend getting one of these kind of a little bit creepy devices, but sometimes creepy is good. So there you go. That is my review of the Omnilex Contour. I highly, highly recommend it. Do I look prettier now? Do I look prettier now? So we'll put more information in this screenshot right here, but definitely take advantage of the QR code, because I think you guys might want to invest in yourself in one of these Omnilex facial devices. Well, that was so sweet of Bonnie to join me. And I promise you, if anybody ever acts like they really don't want to be on camera, I don't press the point. But she actually enjoys being on camera. And she didn't hesitate for a moment when I asked her if she wanted to join us. She is just such a composed, smart, kind young lady. And I'm just so fortunate to have her across the street. Okay, you guys have asked me recently, I've gotten I don't know how many comments on how do I train this climbing rose up and over the window. So to make it easy for you, we're going to put up a screenshot that has all of the things that you will need, all the supplies that you will need, the skills that you will need, and also some information on technique. Now, you've asked me what variety of rose this is, and it is an Eden rose. It has a slight fragrance. It has the shape, I think, of kind of a bourbon rose. It's this pale pink. Some of them, when they first come out, look a little bit more corally. It will rebloom a little bit and maybe put out a second kind of flush of bloom in the fall, but for the most part, it puts out a very enthusiastic first bloom this time in the spring. But I love its foliage as much as I love the blooms themselves, because it's just so beautiful. This has been in the ground for 2 years, and as you can see, it's already scaled up and over the window, and pretty soon it will probably start climbing up and over the awning, and I'm okay with that. Some of you asked if it would damage the awning in any way, and no, I don't really think it will, and if it does, it won't be for many, many years. So I am happy to put up with that, that possibility in order to get the effect that I want. So let's talk a little bit about the technique and how we can get a similar look in our own gardens. Okay, and for today's outfit du jour, from head to toe, my earrings I actually got in Singapore or in Bali. I can't remember. We were over there for my son Johnny's wedding. My top is H&M, very much a thunder color in this kind of shocking orange. My bag I got at an art festival in, I think, Salida many years ago. I can't really remember. My breeches are from Banana Republic. My shoes are DSW many years ago, I think. Can you see my turquoise Bombas socks? Also in shades of turquoise. My ring was a gift from Hubs. And have I forgotten anything? Oh, my necklace. My necklace came from TJ Maxx.
Let's see it real quick. Can't see it.
There you go. There you go. My outfit du jour. Okay, so this is so funny. It's all about the neighbors today. We've got a group of visitors who I'm not sure where they're from, but my neighbor Lori, who just came over with a blood orange mimosa for me. We'll talk about that a little bit later. She is actually greeting the guests on the front porch or on the front stoop. Okay, so I digress. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Now, true confessions, I had Kayla do this because I am not going to, or Kayla or her guys do this because I'm not going to get on a ladder and climb up with a power drill and do this anymore. But we will need a power drill that has a masonry bit to it. You will need some 12 to 16 inch gauge wire. It could be coated wire, or this is just stainless steel wire. And then you'll need some masonry nails and also some, what are those things called that you screw into? The anchors that you screw into them. And then obviously you want to drill into the masonry. You don't want to drill into the brick itself. That would probably be very difficult. But you can see pretty much the architecture of what we have done here in terms of a grid pattern that goes both vertically and it grows diagonally across. So initially, when they put the wire on here, they went strictly vertical and over, and then they did it on this side, and then they came back, and from these same positioned anchors, which are about, what would you say that is, about 20 inches, Stuart?
Yeah,
about,
almost 2 feet.
Yeah, about 20 to 24 inches apart. And then they took the grid and they just wound it around these masonry nails or these anchors, and they did it in a diagonal pattern. You could do it in a typical window pane pattern, depending on the look that you want, but I wanted a classic cottagey rose look, and I think this pattern definitely does it for me. So establish your pattern. Again, we are putting up a screenshot this instruction sheet on how to do it and what you need. Now, over time, as these grow and as I deadhead them, some of these that are growing laterally or horizontally, I will weave up and around these diagonal braces. But right now it's largely growing vertical. Now, why I want to do that is because, number one, it will not only fill in this pattern, but it will also keep these away from the rest of the cane, and so it will give them more air circulation, and it will also give them more exposure to that eastern sun. It will also keep them from whipping around in our heavy winds, and I think it's just a beautiful composition of this deep rose leaf green and then these beautiful roses. What I also like about this variety is that the rose stems are long enough if I wanted to cut them. Now, do I cut any of them? No. But I think they're beautiful, and I think they'll be even more beautiful once the entire facade is filled in. But that's just kind of how you do it. You can obviously, to stabilize the canes, you can weave them around the wire, but I don't do that because it puts undue tension on the wire and also on the stem of the rose. So what I like to use are some of these clips. Can you see this clip here, Stuart?
Yeah, I can probably see better from right there.
Okay, they're just pinch clips. And so they loosely secure that cane to the wire, but it gives them a little bit of flexibility so there's not too much tension for breakage, and this will work just fine. I've got them in a number of different places in both large and small sizes. And then I'll just continue to do that or have somebody help me do it as it continues to grow, because in this area in particular, I really don't feel too safe being on a tall ladder. And it's important as we age to know our limitations. The rose, however, I want it to have no limitations, and it can grow to be as beautiful, as cottagey, and as profuse as possible.
Before you go away on this one, look at this. Look at that blue. Look at my screen. The blue sky.
Oh, wow.
I just thought that was pretty.
A rose moment. Thank you, Stuart. Okay, another thing that you've asked me about is this Encore Azalea topiary. Now, boy, has this been a surprise to me, because I didn't think that the head of the topiary would bloom this year, but indeed it has. I just keep picking off some of the dead-looking stuff that really got cold bit during that very, very cold blast that we had at the end of the season. But this has all sorts of buds on it now. I did not really think it would bloom already in this spring season, but it has. Now, here's a thing that I'm just very, very finicky about, and that is this color of pink is a little bit different. It has a little bit more of a blue undertone to it than this kind of corally pink in the rose. And so I'm going to be moving this. Where I will move it, I'm not really sure. And who will move it, I'm not really sure. But it's not going to be me, because it's way too heavy. But Encore azaleas are truly, truly just so resilient. They do require more sun than you would think. I've gotten a number of questions from people about why aren't my Encore azaleas rosing, and why aren't my Encore azaleas blooming? And I would say it's probably because they're not getting enough light. They might need a good feeding, and they might just need some maturity. But this one is very happy. It's really flourishing, and I can't wait till it fills out even more. If you look closely, Stuart, at some of the canes, let me see. Look, you can see how it's putting out new baby growth. All up and down the stems. So it's got a lot more filling out to do, and it will just be a lot more dense and even more impressive than it already is.
Linda, what are you doing here?
I'm getting ready to do some thunder-inspired container garden suggestions on the morning show here at Channel 9. Robin.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
All right, we got thunder colors. I love it.
Yep,
You got
absolutely.
your thunder orange on you? Good girl.
Go big or go home. Yeah. So I'm just trying to decide what of this stuff I want to unload and what I want to leave in the flats.
So they put this camera in seconds.
1 minute.
Early door access to watch pre-game warm-ups. You have until noon Tuesday to do so.
Hey, speaking of the thunder, show your thunder spirit. Yep, with this do-it-yourself gardening project. I've got the gal right here to teach us all how to do it. Making a thunder-themed arrangement for the garden. It's next on 9. Look how pretty this is. Thunder up. Woo. Your garden designer and stylist, Linda Vater, is here with us today making thunder-inspired arrangements. I mean, are we not all thrilled about the thunder?
Okay, do you not love this? And you know, we can all don our hats and our t-shirts and hang our flags, but I think it's time that our gardens get in on action.
Yeah, of course.
I love your idea about this, and boy, the colors are so vibrant.
well, this episode we're going to call, or this segment we're going to call Trading Places. So I am over here at my friend Lori's house and my neighbor on her front porch. Now, one of the things I love about these old neighborhoods is that the front porches actually line up. They're perfectly in parallel to one another as you go up and down the street. And the reason for that was you could visit on your front porch, and there's also a nice cool breeze that can really pass up and down the street through these porches. Now, earlier today, Lori was sitting out here, and in the perfect porching moment, hello, Jack, in the perfect porching moment, she said, "Hey, Linda, what are you doing? I had an abundance of blood oranges, and do you want a spur of the moment mimosa?" Now, Lori and I don't normally do day drinking, but it's so gorgeous out. It's so gorgeous out. And here's Lori. You've met Lori before.
You can always make an exception.
You can always
When
make an
you have
exception. Yes.
Extra blood oranges, you know.
Yeah, because
Any good reason, right?
because who are we to be, so extravagant that we would let good blood oranges go to
That's
waste?
exactly what I thought. I thought if I'm going to squeeze these oranges, I'm going to figure out a way to drink them.
It's the only reason. It's
Right.
the only reason on this Saturday morning that we are having a blood orange mimosa. Okay, so Laura, you may not know this, but when I first moved in, and did everybody think I was crazy putting in this garden?
Probably. Probably, but we
Tell
were
me
mistaken.
how you really feel.
Because the truth is look, no one would have thought. Listen, no one would have thought when all that was in front of this house was two giant evergreen trees hiding the entire front of the house that it could have looked like this. So, we're wrong sometimes.
And that you would like it.
That we would like.
And that you would like Jamie and me as neighbors.
No, I was hopeful. And the truth is we do like you.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'll pay you later. Okay, so when we first started putting in this garden, a lot of my followers thought I was crazy to put in this little porch area because this is porching culture in these older homes. It's porching culture because people, I would say, more than sitting in their backyard in the evenings, they actually sit in their front yards, which is kind of an anti-suburbia mentality, I think. So people thought I was kind of crazy. Why would I want to have this, what we call a little social patio here? Because it does get its fair share of society, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. Both little societors and big societors.
And neighbors, like the people who just stopped by from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah, they weren't even neighbors. So Stuart and I were shooting the Rose Park portion of today's video, and who were they?
They were just a lovely family from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, who said, we're on our way to Yellowstone, and we want to stop in Oklahoma City for just a couple of things. The memorial, okay,
Which is very close to
and
us.
to see Linda. And, and they couldn't believe it.
Well, and so Lori pinched
Pinched
hit.
Pinch it.
Hey, there you
Yes.
go.
Exactly.
Pinch.
That's what you meant to
explained
say.
that I
There
was
you go.
neighbors, that I was going more for the clover lawn experience. And there was a lot of pressure living next door to you, but
Well-
they actually said mine didn't look too bad.
Well, the thing is,
I've stepped it
a
up a
lot
little.
of people in this neighborhood, they really, and I'm not saying this as excuse or whatever, they are into the pollinator lawns. Our park is kind of like that. I mean, they
Exactly.
really try to keep it as kind of natural as possible. And the one thing is, as I think about those kind of lawns, as long as they're well groomed, it's an alternative. I mean, it's definitely an alternative to grass, and you keep you keep yours very well edged, you keep it mowed.
When it's mowed, it looks not too bad.
Now, I do think there's been a couple of times when you have your lawn crew has been here with their blower, and I think they blew some mice into my house. Not that I'm accusing you or anything. I'm just saying. Yes.
Don't get me started on rodents. We've had our fair share. But
Well, but
not in a long time. Thank goodness.
I told
And
you
maybe
about-
they're coming here.
Okay, but I told you about the day that I sucked up a baby mouse right after they were blowing, and I sucked up a baby mouse in my parlor with my dustbuster.
Didn't you like not know it was in there for a second?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was in there. I just I was scared, and I went like this, and the dustbuster was on, and I sucked it up.
Yeah, that's something I would not want to then open up the
Well,
dustbuster to release
Yeah.
it.
Well, earlier than that, there was a huge. When you have a garden, you have lots of wildlife. You have lots of friends, and there was also a huge praying mantis that was in the house, and it was on a light shade. So I had already sucked it up with my dustbuster, and then I was coming out to release it. I've shared this story with you guys before, and I was out to release it, and there was a baby mouse that I thought was dead on the ground. Wow. But I was so startled, and so I was going to bend down to pick it up, or to see if it was dead, to nudge it with the dustbuster, and it wasn't dead, it was alive. So it scared me, so then I just went like that, and then I looked, and then I had a live praying mantis and a baby mouse in here. So I came out, and it was when all the kids were walking to school.
Did they get to see it?
They didn't, yes, some of them got to see it, and then Spence, he released it for me.
Yeah, I would not want to be a part of that, because that is a science experiment.
That you are not.
A lesson in biology about who's going to eat who, the praying mantis or the little baby mouse.
Wow, yeah.
But you know what? It will make a great story for
That's
my
true.
grandchild
Absolutely.
when they're born.
That's right.
Yes. The praying mantis, the mouse, and the
The
dustbuster.
dustbuster. I can't believe the dustbuster. That's one mighty dustbuster. I've never had a dustbuster that's strong enough to get a mouse. They usually won't even hardly get the dust.
No,
That's like mine.
it's great. Black & Decker. I highly recommend it. So anyhow, you were sitting there and you were having a Bloody Mary, and you asked me if, or not a Bloody Mary, a mimosa. Excuse me.
That's right, mimosa. Let's get our
Now,
beverages right.
okay.
Orange
Now,
mimosa.
I just wonder if mine is. Is this a fly in here, or is this? I started to drink it thinking, oh look, she's put some kind of cute berries in there.
Oh no. That's funny.
And there's a big fly in there.
Wow.
Well, he was big. I just saw him fall out.
You know what? That came. That came.
We have-
fine now. Look at that.
Hey,
It's fine now.
listen, we have guests from everywhere.
Wow, that flew in after the
It was
arrival
protein.
over here.
That's a blueberry-sized fly.
Wow, that is one mighty.
It was. So anyhow, back to my story. People thought I was crazy. Linda, why would I want to have a patio on my front porch? And especially, well, hello, ladies. Oh, we have more friends. We have more visitors today. Let me finish up here, okay, guys? Okay. Hi, Peter. And I said, because I felt I had porch envy, because everybody else had these big. The thing about neighborhoods, as Bonnie stated earlier, is that they're all different. All of these houses are very, very different, with the exception that 99% of them have a front porch that lines up and down the street. It was very much a thing of the early 1900s, except for my little cottage here.
But this is one of the few houses without
A
on the
porch.
street. Part of it is because it was this home. I mean, it was homesteaded during the same period as these other houses were built, but it wasn't built until later.
Yeah.
They owned it. This is a 1910 build. Your home's not a 1910 build.
Yeah, I think mine
but-
must have been between 1950 and 1920. Yes. I know it was here in 1920.
Yes.
That's considerably later.
And so it was built a little bit later, so they did a different style on the house, which is kind of cool because it has the whole, windows and everything. So totally different kind of porch, which I always thought it needed a porch. So I think this is the best.
No, I think
because you were one of the few who didn't
have
have
a porch, and I have porch envy, and this is quite a gathering spot.
Before I take a drink, I'm looking
You
at
got
it.
fly,
I know. I don't know what that thing
The
was.
question is, am I brazen enough to drink this after it's had a dead fly in it?
Why not?
Well, why not? I've eaten
He's
more
out.
than my share
You
of
didn't
bugs.
drink that much, as they say.
I've eaten more than my share of bugs while gardening.
Yes, I have two in your garden.
To neighbors, it's always good to
Cheers.
have neighbors and
Yes.
porches.
2 neighbors, and Lori is the mission director at St. Luke's Methodist Church, which is just a matter of blocks from here.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you've brought people over to visit. Lots of.
Oh, I know. Everyone wants to know about my neighbor, Linda. Everyone wants to know about my neighbor, Linda. Honestly, they could care less about me, but they're like, hey, do you live next to Linda?
Now you do lie, don't you?
No, I
You
said,
do lie.
I said, she's the best. You always talk about your flowers and what season it is. So,
Yeah, because it does change all the time. But this is a very active corner.
Very active. Well, it's like those people showing up. I was just like, yeah.
But that happens
And
all the
I asked
time.
them, I said, now, who of you guys live in Oklahoma City, thinking someone had come to visit?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, none of us. We're all from Hattiesburg. I said, well, what are you doing? And they're like, well, we're coming through and we're going to all of our favorite places, all the things we want to see as we come to each city.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
And who knew that a garden in Oklahoma
Could draw
Oklahoma,
people, right?
of all places, could
right.
be a little bit of a tourist attraction.
It was definitely a tourist attraction.
But there was a family from Ohio, I probably shared this story before, and they were at the National Memorial, and then they came by here to see the garden. And I said, oh, well, where are you from? And blah, 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 blah. And I said, how did you know where I live? Did you look it up, on the internet? People say, oh, Linda, don't share your address or whatever. That ship has sailed. There ain't no way. Yeah, you can find it pretty easily. And they said, oh, they told us at the memorial where you lived.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, I guess it's a thing. You go to here first, and then the memorial, and then here.
Well, and you mentioned dead people's stuff or
Oh
something.
yeah, we've done.
Oh yeah, we've been there. Yeah.
Because they knew that was the other place they'd gone to, which I love their stuff.
It is a cool spot.
Really
No,
fun.
we shot a video there.
Okay.
Yes, with Cullen.
Yes.
Yes, and he was. Did you know this? This is gossipy kind of neighborhood stuff. Did you know that he was named after? Not Grace Kelly. Who's the famous dancer, male dancer?
Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay. Gene Kelly's middle name was Cullen.
Gene Cullen.
And he was named after Gene Kelly.
Okay.
And his middle name.
Is Cullen.
And then I didn't realize, but when we went there one day just to visit, because my kids were in town, and we went over there, and Cullen was there. Well, I didn't know that he knew my kids.
What's his last name?
Is it Fudge?
Is it?
Isn't that Chip Fudge's son?
Okay, maybe it is.
I think.
I just didn't know if he had the same last name for some reason.
Yeah, I don't put those two together. I don't put those two together, and I could be wrong. But nevertheless, you just never know who. There are just so many ways that lives interweave.
Yeah.
And do we have another?
You have sneaky visitors.
We have sneaky. I have sneaky. I have sneaky visitors. I know. Yeah.
This is like the adventure. This is the adventure house.
Yeah, it's for sure.
She was smiling back there the whole time.
Of secret garden. They're coming into the secret garden to have all of their
little adventures.
Right here. This is exactly what it is.
Their little adventures. Well, and sometimes with their parents' permission, I give them treats.
I know, that's nice.
And
they know it.
And sometimes Lori gives me treats.
It works out.
Thank you, Lori. Oh, and also it's nice to have somebody who lives right there within porch shouting distance, that when we are out here looking at some kind of astrological or astronomical event in the middle of the night, I hear her over there and go, Lori, Lori, do you have your pajamas on?
I know. I often go out on the front porch in my pajamas, which, I always say to my friend, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, my pajamas are kind of like shorts, or they're like
and it's dark out.
Like a little dress or whatever. So it couldn't be much different than what you wear.
And we're not out. We're not out. Right. It's in the middle of the night. So
I'll come out and look at the stars or look at the constellation. And sometimes I'll see you and I'll think, I hate to always yell at you because you don't want people to see. But I want you to know.
No,
Linda.
I'm not embarrassed if you're not.
No, but Lori, is that you? Yes. I'll say, are you out here looking at whatever whatever the phenomenon is? Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever is going on, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say, are you in your pajamas? Yes, I'm in.
Well, the other night I was out looking at for the Memorial 30th anniversary.
Oh,
they
yes.
had the green,
yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
What was it?
Well, the Devon Tower.
Yeah, the Devon Tower.
Yeah,
That
the
was
Devon
really cool.
Tower.
And you can see it clear from
Yeah,
here.
the Devon Tower is
everywhere.
it's the tallest building west of the Mississippi, and it's just literally right down the street towards downtown, and it's lit up for either thunder or Valentine's Day.
I heard it's doing like lightning strikes during storms and stuff too.
It
like
is.
Yeah.
different
yes,
types of
We
things.
were down there at the Lazy Donkey, one of our favorite restaurants.
The Lazy Donkey.
And we could see that. And it was raining, and there it was, the lightning strikes. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. There's a wonderful restaurant on top called Bass where you can oversee the city. But this time of year when there's something going on, it's all lit up in whatever the most relevant colors are at the time. And in the summer it's kind of hard to see because the trees are all filled out. But in the winter time you can really see it. And I love being able to see all the Christmas lights across the street, and then I can see Devon Tower down there. It's very comforting. Yeah, it's very comforting. Yes. Okay, well, cheers to you, girlfriend.
Cheers to you.
A monster truck.
Yeah, Peter caught a monster truck.
What is his own
Now,
monster?
okay, now, so let me show you, Rowan, that there's a technique.
First of all, you have to be very quiet. Okay. You have to be kind of quiet and still.
Roro, once you get it in here, then you have to go like this so it doesn't fly back out.
Come on back, Stuart. The telltale squeak, which I will never remove. Some of you sweetly say, Linda, you could take care of that with WD-40.
Why would we do that?
But why would I do that? Because I love it. It reminds me of my old neighborhood and my old house. And I know I go on and on about how much I love my neighborhood and my neighbors and my old house. But this leads to my question of the day. You probably also love your neighborhood and the people that live around you. And I want you to take a moment to just share why. Tell me what is special about your neighborhood, about where you live, because there is charm to be found everywhere. Sometimes I think we have to look for it. That's a lesson that I learned, I think, when I was younger and living alone. I didn't have any family here. And I realized that even though I was living alone and I didn't have, a lot of friends who lived in the area, that I was going to have to be proactive about finding what I loved about my single life and my single life where I was living at that point in time. And I just had to proactively get outside of my comfort zone and introduce myself to neighbors and get to know what was in my neighborhood and start frequenting places and learning the names of the people at the dry cleaners and at the pharmacy and things like that. And pretty soon, all of a sudden, you realize that, there's charm to be found everywhere in your neighborhood. And so I guess that's my challenge to all of us, myself included, Stuart, you too. And that is, and it leads to my question of the day, what is charming where you live? What neighbors do you especially love? What are the kind of quirky personalities that live in your neighborhood that have become a charming fixture? I just think it's something that we need to be attentive to, intentional about, and very cognizant of looking for, because there's all sorts of treasures to be found in the different areas in which we live, whether that's a rural area or an urban area. Wherever it is, there are charming people, charming places, and hopefully charming gardens. Thank you guys for spending time with me this Saturday. I sure enjoyed it. It was just very relaxed. The weather was beautiful. We just kind of did it on the fly because I wanted you to spend the morning with me. I wish you were my neighbor. Okay, Lori, I want to know why all the bugs are coming into my drink.
And
not
must be sweeter than me.
sweeter than me, or they know
They know
I'm used to it. They know I'm
they
used
can
to it.
bug you.
Yeah. Oh, well.
To do